Ansible videos, and today we're going to talk about variables in Ansible. Variables are really important because they allow you to build more consistency in your playbooks so that you don't need to declare the same thing for each one of the systems that you're configuring. And we'll see that as we look at the examples of variables that I have in here. Now they're pretty basic variables that I use, but they make a lot of sense and can make it so that you can have better clarity about what you're doing with the systems that you're configuring. So we can get variables from lots of different places. We can get variables from the facts when we have the gather facts, and we can look at all of those values that come out of the gather facts setup. We've got magic variables, so to speak, which are things like host vars and group names and groups and stuff. Those are variables in that you define them in places like in your inventory, and you can't reuse them for something else. But you know they're a little special. But so where can we define variables? Well, lots of different places in Ansible. You can put them in the inventory file itself. You can and then apply those in the variables to every time that you run a playbook that involves that inventory file, which is really handy. You could put your variables in the playbooks that you run, but of course, then each time you come up with a new playbook, you need to make sure that you include those variables in each one of the playbooks that you run against the inventory. You can declare variables in include files and roles. Include files and roles are pretty similar, and we're going to get to those a little bit later. Roles are where, you know, it gets more, Ansible gets much more production oriented. And so we'll spend some time talking about those in the future. But so variables can come from lots of different places. So variables in a playbook, you just declare them. So if you want all your web servers, for example, to use the same HTTP port as 80, and you want your htdocs to come from the same location, you could declare that as a variable in the playbook so that later on you don't need to tell each one of your web servers or the servers that are members of the web server group what port to use or where the htdocs are located. All you have to do is say, you know, htdocs, and it'll set that, or HTTP port, and it'll set that up as 80 htdocs, and that'll set that up as /var/www/html, and then you know you can have your tasks under that task of blah blah blah. You can register variables. Now, register variables are things that happen halfway through a playbook. So in this case, we've got a task where we say run shell script, and then we use the shell module, and we run a script called /root/script.sh, and then we take the output of that script and we put it into a variable called script output. And register is a way to declare a variable from within your playbook itself. So that's kind of another handy thing to use. Now, a bigger example of this might be to declare variables in your inventory. Why? Because it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to run a whole bunch of different playbooks against this same inventory, then you may want to include your variables as part of that inventory itself. And that way, all your machines will automatically pick them up every time the playbook, any of the playbooks that you run, use that same inventory file. And so, you know, that's a handy thing to do, and this is one way that you can do it. You know, declare the IP address for your NTP server. declare some variables around your web servers. What port are you using? Where are your HT docs? Around your database servers, you may want to talk about the ports that you're using there and the DB user that you're setting up when you're setting up a new database server. So lots of different places that you can declare variables and lots of different things that you can use them for. But once again, the goal of declaring variables is to make it so that you can have greater consistency across the all of the machines that you're setting up. Oh, and there's another one up there we've got as a variables in ad hoc command, max requests per child equal 100. That would be another nice variable because then you have across all your web servers the same max requests per child. So, okay, well, I hope that helped, and we'll keep on cranking these out. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.